We've had many conversations as a family about carrying on Steve's important mission. Steve and I often talked about our big dream for Australia Zoo, to make it the best zoological facility on planet Earth. It was important not only to continue what we were doing, but to make sure that everything Steve had started was going to be achieved.
With everything that we do, we're ultimately trying to continue Dad's legacy.
Australia Zoo is our heart and soul. It's really special to be able to follow our passion in life and do what we love as a family. So we're in it together, which is great.
You gonna go? Whoa!
It was a very whirlwind experience to meet Steve. When I first came to Australia Zoo, and it was this tiny little roadside reptile park, I thought this is gonna be kind of a sad little rundown place. It was remarkably clean with happy animals and this incredibly amazing man who was telling us all about crocodiles and how wonderful they were. I remember when I first met him, we were talking about all things wildlife and our passions in life, and I kept thinking, I wonder if this guy's married. So he said to me, would you like to meet my girlfriend, Sue? And I tried to be real cool about it, but I was devastated. And his little dog, Suey, came running around the corner, and he goes, this is me girlfriend, Sue. And I thought, yes. And so it was really wonderful to spend the day with him here and experience all the wildlife. But of course I had to fly back to Oregon where I lived. And finally after a month he called and said, I'm gonna come over and see you. He met my whole family and was just thrown into the deep end. And then I came back to Australia with him. And right at the end of my visit he said, so do you want to get married? And it was very surreal, and I thought of all of the reasons I couldn't leave Oregon and my business and my wildlife work and family and friends, and said yes. And thus began the biggest adventure of my life.
Now we're in the crocodile's territory. We're near the water, and we're not on land anymore. So we're in his swimming pool.
When we were married, instead of a honeymoon, we found out that there was a crocodile in danger of being shot by poachers. And did we want to catch this crocodile and film it and just document the experience of catching a croc? So off we went.
The large male 15-foot croc we'd originally come to North Queensland to find had been shot just days before we would have trapped him and been able to move him to safety.
At first it was kind of funny because we filmed this documentary and figured that was it. But after 4 years, we all thought maybe we could do something on a bigger world stage. So we went to America, and I screwed up all my courage and went and met with Discovery. And they said, you know, when it comes to documentary work, it's really 80% wildlife and 20% presenter. And you've got this guy in virtually every scene that you're filming. So this isn't how you do wildlife documentaries. So they were very kind, and they said, you can try this on our new network. We have a network called Animal Planet, and at that point it had about 250,000 subscribers. And they said, we'll give it a shot on that network. And that's when it really took off. And in our 10-year time filming with Animal Planet, the network went to 90 million subscribers. So it really was a wonderful achievement that Steve could bring this new way of documentary filming to the masses. It was a wonderful experience and journey going from Steve and Terri in a tiny little roadside zoo to Steve Irwin, Crocodile Hunter, and having that international platform.
How did you get your start as a crocodile hunter?
I was born into it. Didn't have a choice.
People kind of lived vicariously through Steve and experienced how beautiful and amazing and how big things were and how they worked and really got to know wildlife. And that was a real privilege. But it was strange traveling with Steve when we'd go places like America and he would just be utterly mobbed. It was a very strange experience, and people were lovely, but you couldn't really go anywhere or do anything because folks were so keen on the work that he was doing and his profile, so it really was an amazing achievement that Steve was so well known around the world. I'm really appreciative that Bindi and Robert both have said this is something we want to do as well. And we've had many conversations as a family about carrying on Steve's important mission.
Australian crocodile hunter Steve Irwin has died during a diving expedition near Port Douglas in Australia.
I think everyone is kind of prepared for tragedy and utterly broadsided by tragedy at the same time. I think no one would have been more surprised than Steve at the outpouring of interest and concern and sympathy and love from so many people. As your parent, I must give you
Thank you for these life lessons. They're so helpful.
It was 3 weeks after we lost Steve, and Bindi came to me and said, "When are we going to start filming again?" And that was really a sign to me that it was important not only to continue what we were doing, but to make sure that everything Steve had started was going to be achieved.
The future is looking so beautiful. We have so much on the horizon.
I'm really appreciative that Bindi and Robert both have said this is something we want to do as well. And we've had many conversations as a family about carrying on Steve's important mission.
When they're ready to run up our mission, I will gladly step aside. And I guarantee you it'll be the proudest moment of my life. And my job will be done.
Every day we're just surrounded by amazing animals. So, every day after I'm done with school, I'll just roam around the zoo and jump in with a kangaroo or feed a crocodile. And it's really awesome. And to give others the opportunity to connect with wildlife, it's awesome. We love it.
Australia Zoo, it's not just what we do, it's not like just our job, it really is who we are.
We have a wildlife hospital and we've taken in over 75,000 animals now. And it's phenomenal and so special, but that requires a lot of cleaning. We want to make sure that our zoo is the most pristine and beautiful in the world.
It's changed a lot from one full-time staff person to over 440, from 2 acres to over 700 acres. We've been really blessed, and it's a whole different world now.
Chandler, come in.
Chandler, Crikey. How about we get on this side?
There you go.
A few years ago, I was actually a professional wakeboarder, which was really random, but it brought me here. So I was competing on the World Series Tour, and one of the stops was in Australia. And I had grown up, I'd seen Steve and Terri's documentaries, so I loved the zoo and love everything they did. So I really wanted to see Australia Zoo when I came to Australia. And it just so happened that Bindi was giving tours that day. So I showed up and got a tour from Bindi and just hit it off right away.
One of the first times he ever came to the zoo, I kind of wanted to sort of, in a way, kind of test him to see what would happen. And so we had him in feeding alligators. And he did so well. He was right in there just, he's really, really awesome. I'm very impressed. He's great with wildlife. So I approve.
Yeah, I have my khaki on, I have my name on my khaki. I am loving it.
We do get asked on a daily basis whether we are married, whether we're engaged, what's happening. And for us at the moment, I think it's just been about enjoying life now.
It's really great just to slow down and enjoy the ride.
Every single animal here at Australia Zoo truly is like family to us.
Australia Zoo will always be home. No matter where we go, no matter where we travel, on all of our amazing adventures, we always come back here to Australia. And this is home, definitely. And it's such a privilege for us to continue all of Mum and Dad's amazing work. And we absolutely love it. We really do. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
14 years with Steve was like, 400 years of real life. It was like the most epic, adventurous, amazing experience. And I've got 2 great kids. I've got a gigantic mission of continuing the conservation work.
I have achieved my ultimate goal. to be able to stand aside and let them run up my mission.
I really miss Steve, but I'm not a lonely person. It's just surrounding yourself with great friends and family and people who will support you.